Welcome to Inner Authority. This podcast is for people who know that they are capable of more, not in a striving way, but in a quiet, internal knowing. It's for the people who've done a lot right, who are intelligent, who are self-aware, who are successful by most measures, but they still feel that tension inside, like something has gone slightly off track. Not because you're broken, and not because you need fixing, but because at some point you learn to lead yourself from effort instead of trust. Inner authority is about coming back from that. It's about restoring your relationship with your own knowing, your decisions, your direction, not by pushing harder, but by listening more honestly. My name is Kelly Brummer. I'm the founder of Start and Succeed and Inner Authority podcast. Each episode of this podcast is an invitation for you to slow down, to notice what's actually true for you, and to lead yourself from that place again. So if you're done outsourcing your authority and you're ready to come back into alignment with yourself, then you're in the right place. Hello. In today's episode, we name the quiet cost of waiting. Not the dramatic kind, but the slow erosion of self-trust that happens when you keep postponing what you already know matters. So there's a story, isn't there, that we tell ourselves that we're waiting for the right time. Notice the air quotes. Not forever, but just for things to settle, to make more sense, to feel easier. We say it quietly, reasonably, like we're being responsible. But underneath that story is something else. And that something else is avoidance. Avoidance dressed up as patience. Fear dressed up as logic. Because here's the truth. The perfect time doesn't exist. It never has, and it never will. And if you keep waiting for it, all you're going to do is keep waiting. There will always be something to take you off track, to keep you postponing, to keep you waiting for that perfect time. It might be a responsibility, a disruption, a season, maybe even a reason to delay. But life doesn't pause so that you can feel ready. Life continues to happen. And we all know this. Time flies past us so fast. And we can often look back and go, where the hell did that last 12 months, 2 years, even a few weeks go? So life doesn't pause for us. It doesn't wait so that you can feel ready. And readiness isn't something that just arrives. It's actually something that forms after you make a move, after you take action. Now, most people don't delay things because they are lazy. They delay because they're trying to feel safe before they take the action. They want certainty. They want guarantees. They want a sense that nothing is going to go wrong and it will all work out fine. But that isn't how leadership works. And it's not how self-trust is built either. Self-trust doesn't come from waiting until all of the conditions are perfect. It comes from acting when they're not perfect. You don't need all of your ducks in a row, and you never did. All you need is just a few of them to be in a row. Enough to take that very first step without lying to yourself, without trying to think about everything being perfect. And that's it. The rest doesn't get figured out in advance. We can't know all of the steps. It reveals itself to us. It reveals itself because we're taking action. It reveals itself through motion, through friction, through correction, through learning, through being inside the thing that you're trying to do instead of just thinking about it. Now, one of the things that often as well puts people off is because we're human and we take on so much information, so many emotions, opinions, so many things take on, and sometimes we don't even realize consciously that we're doing it. It's subconscious. But one of those things is overthinking a situation, overthinking a problem, overthinking where it is that you want to go and what you want to achieve and what you're trying to do for your audience, for your friends, for your family, for yourself. And that overthinking convinces you that clarity comes first, that you need clarity before you can make a move, but that doesn't happen. Clarity comes after action. Clarity follows action, and not bold action, not a big step, not a dramatic step, but imperfect action. The kind that feels slightly uncomfortable, slightly exposed, slightly unfinished. That's the action that will build momentum. Now, when we think about the process of waiting, the process of overthinking, the process of stopping ourselves because we don't know the answers, it feels neutral. It feels, okay, well, I'll just continue to do this. I'll continue to wait. I won't take that action because that action is taking me out of my comfort zone. Waiting feels comfortable. It feels neutral, but it isn't. Waiting actually costs you something. Each time that you postpone what you know actually matters, you're teaching yourself that your knowing can be ignored. And that's the real damage, not the missed opportunity, not the slower timeline that it's taking you on, but it's the erosion of that internal authority. Because when you keep waiting for that perfect time, you're also waiting to be rescued by circumstances, by confidence, by somebody else going first and doing it before you. But leadership doesn't arrive that way. No one comes and hands the answer to you. Nobody comes and gives you the success. You have to go out and earn it. And at some point, you either decide to make a move without permission, or what you'll do is you'll stay exactly where you are. And I can guarantee for 99% of people, staying put, staying where you are, not taking action, feels safer. Until it doesn't. Until months pass, then years. And then that thing that you keep postponing starts to feel heavier instead of lighter. Not because it got harder, but because you've been carrying all of that weight of not choosing to actually do something with this. So let's slow this down a little bit. This isn't about doing everything at once. It's not about forcing momentum. It's about honesty. It's about thinking, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for more time? Are you waiting for more money? Are you waiting for more confidence or more clarity? Maybe you're waiting for the fear to go away, but it won't. Fear doesn't disappear because we want it to. It doesn't disappear before we take action. It recalibrates after the fact. Now, the people that you admire, that have been there, done that, that look successful, they didn't feel ready. What they did was they felt willing to be seen before being overly polished, willing to start before being certain, and willing to actually move while still being a little unsure. Now, that willingness is not personality-based. It's not just because that's who they are, they've done that. It's a decision that they make. Now, you don't have to leap. You just have to stop. You have to stop pretending that you don't know the very first step, because you do. You might have to dig deep to find it, and it might be very, very small. It might also feel a little bit too simple. So maybe it's sending that message, having that conversation, creating that draft, maybe even making a choice that you keep circling again and again and again. Now, you didn't need to know step 10, and you don't need to know step 10. You need to take step 1 with integrity. You need to make the move. You need to take the action. Now, here's something that a lot of people avoid. Taking no action, not doing a thing, staying still, staying stagnant. That's a choice. Waiting is still a decision that you make, and it always leads somewhere. But the thing is, waiting doesn't always lead you where you want to go. Usually, it's taking you down a different path, in a different direction, further away from the thing that you actually want. So let me ask you this. If you think about where you are today, what it is that you're trying to achieve, the journey that you're on, the business that you're trying to create, maybe the career path that you're trying to go on, what are you putting off for that perfect time? Not the thing that you talk about casually, but the thing that you feel in your body and how you feel when it comes up. How long have you been postponing it for? And be honest with yourself. And what would happen if you stopped negotiating time and actually started leading yourself instead? What would the result be? What would life look like? Now, I'm not talking about making aggressive, urgent, big decisions, just clean decisions. What does that look like? What happens if instead of waiting, instead of negotiating, instead of putting things off, you decided to step forward just a tiny little step, to be courageous, to be bold? And that doesn't mean being over extroverted. It doesn't mean being loud. It doesn't mean being all over social media. It's just about taking that first step. What would happen? Now, I'm here to remind you, because I've been on this journey myself over many years in my corporate career before I stepped into business near on 8 years ago. But I want to remind you that the perfect time isn't coming. You are already here, and that's enough to begin. Before you move on with your day, just notice what shifted whilst you were listening to this episode. Not what you learned, but what settled. Inner authority doesn't announce itself loudly. It feels like a quiet agreement inside of you, inside of your body and inside of your mind. If this episode met you there, stay with the podcast and go and subscribe so that you don't have to go looking for this again. It will be here when you're ready to listen. No pressure, no urgency. Just a return to yourself, one conversation at a time.